So there's one key factor that nearly all successful people share. Now, the good news about this is that this is something that can be developed even if you don't have it right now. It'll take a little bit of awareness of it first of all, and then hard work and discipline. But you can develop this this trait. And if you don't develop this, then you can still become good at anything, but you will never truly become great. So let's get right into it. Hey, what's up guys? This is Ryan from Elevate Cyber. In this video, I wanted to talk about this factor that nearly all successful people share across disciplines. If you pretty much look across the board, you'll notice this commonality. Now, I'm not going to keep you on the hook too much longer. What I'm speaking of here is grit. Now, grit is something that let's kind of define it a little bit here and really talk about what it really means. Now, whenever you are faced with anything, right, any challenge, any skill you want to improve, you will encounter situations where there will be a bit of resistance. Like, you don't want to do the thing that you know that you need to do in order to progress. That's pretty much inevitable, right? If you're truly trying to become great, right? If you're just trying to, improve a little bit, maybe you don't so much encounter this. Maybe you encounter it right off the bat in some cases. It really depends. When you see people that have, what people would define as, being passionate about something, you don't necessarily have to have that as your calling in order to, stay really persistent on stuff. If you have grit, then, it can be seen by others as passion, and you will be able to just keep on going, right? So basically, if you are really passionate about something, if something is like kind of your natural inclination, something you're really drawn to, then it's going to just feel a lot easier for you to put in the work because you really enjoy it and stuff. And you might have more grit in that area, right? You might be a little bit more hardened to those times where you face those obstacles and you don't feel like doing the work, and you'll still do it anyways because you have a little bit more passion on your side. But really, you can develop this as like a trait that you just have across the board if you really tap into the sort of like the killer instinct side of yourself, the side of yourself that is able to sort of separate the emotions from the work, right? Like, you might not feel like doing something, but you do it anyways because what's on the other side, right? I might not feel like recording this video, but I'm still going to make it because it's important for me to get my message out there, to help as many of you guys as possible, and of course grow my channel as well. And so really developing this factor of grit, what it's going to allow you to do is, when you inevitably take some losses, right? Because everyone takes some losses along the way, everyone hits those obstacles. You're going to be able to, kind of shrug it off and just keep on going, right? Versus someone that doesn't have grit, what they're going to do is they're going to be, chugging along perfectly well while they're enjoying it, while things are easy, while times are good. But as soon as they hit that major obstacle, that's when they're going to kind of skid off the road, right? And they're going to, maybe crash and burn, or maybe like face a major setback and then, maybe quit for a time and come back. This is why, in the YouTube space, right, there's a lot of people that make a bunch of videos and they're consistent for a while and then they drop off the map. Now, that was me, right? See, this is to prove to you guys that this is something that you can definitely, build up as a skill set, because this was definitely me. If you look back in my videos in, I think 2018, I had that OSCP series. I stopped near the very end, and I didn't come back to YouTube for another year and a half, right? I guess, year and a half, almost 2 years. But yeah, that goes to show you that you can develop this, right? I've been very consistent on my videos. Now, the other day, I did not come out with one little technical difficulty where I thought I uploaded something that I didn't. However, I'm back here right away, right? So how did I develop this, and how can you guys develop it? That's what we'll go to next here. And as far as that goes, I would definitely say that the first part is just having an awareness. And watching this video is going to help you with that, right? Now you're aware that this is actually an important factor, an important trait, right? When we talk about the compound effect and we talk about habit tracking and all that stuff, that's great. But if you don't have this kind of mental fortitude, this kind of mental grit, then it's going to be very hard to stick to it long enough until it becomes a habit, right? Eventually, when it becomes a habit, you're going to be able to coast a little more, but you still will encounter obstacles eventually, and that's where you need to have grit, right? But yeah, just being aware of this stuff is the first step, most definitely, I would say. And then, additionally to that, basically, once you do know the importance of it, then just really being disciplined with yourself in the early stages is really important. Now, I'm sure you guys heard this tons of times, but they say it takes about 3 weeks for a habit to form of doing something like consistently every day. So really, before you get locked in, before you've been doing whatever you're trying to do for 3 weeks straight, you need to really be able to tap into your discipline there. Be disciplined, track, habit track, whatever you need to do to make sure that you are doing this stuff every day. Then once it becomes a habit, you're going to be able to coast along a little bit more. It's not going to be as cumbersome to do the thing. Of course, you still have to understand the long game. That's what I would say about grit, right? Because if you understand grit, you can really, if you understand the long game and understand your why, like why you want to do it, right? If you really get down to like brass tacks here and you really assess, okay, this is the skill that I want, and this is why I want it. That why is going to be your sort of driving force. Let me give you an example. In the past, I've taken on a lot of different foreign languages that I try to learn because honestly, I really like language learning, and one of my goals one of these days is to become a polyglot. If you're not aware, a polyglot is basically someone who can speak at least 5 languages. That's the general agreed upon definition of it. But in the past, I had undertaken, various different languages, and I never really stuck to one for too long. Japanese was the one I stuck to the longest. Interesting fact, I guess there. I'm about an intermediate level at that. But there's a lot of languages where I didn't really put much time into them. Like I went really hard in the beginning, and then I fell off on it. Why? I didn't have a strong why. I didn't have a strong reason for why I wanted to learn a particular language, right? It was just like, oh, this seems like a cool language, and maybe one day I'll go to these countries and stuff like that. And that wasn't a strong enough why. But, now I started learning Spanish as a second language, and I've been very consistent on that. And the reason is I have a stronger why. Like, I want to go to Mexico City. I want to perhaps diversify myself with citizenship in Mexico, get a residency down there, open an offshore bank account, stuff like that. Right now, all of a sudden I have a lot of reasons why I would want to learn Spanish, and also, travel around down in South America. I could use it here and there. I could use it for this purpose, that purpose. I'm really getting specific on why I want to learn it, what it's going to do for me, beyond just the surface level of, oh yeah, it sounds cool and it would be cool to go there one day. It's like, no, I plan to go there this year. I plan to talk to an immigration lawyer and get all this stuff, sorted out. And that's just an example there, right? So, that's with the language learning, right? But you can do the same thing with OSCP, for example, right? Or any other certification. It's like, I want to get the certification. That way I can demand a, $120K a year salary, fully remote job, whatever it is that you want, right? Whatever you demand out of your life. And that's going to help you think about how much easier it is versus like, oh, I want to get OSCP because I heard it's a pretty good certification and I'll probably be able to get a job, versus like, getting really specific on what you want and why. That alone is going to give you so much grit and so much power. If you can really be focused on the long term, on that vision that you have, you can create that vision based on like your whys, your reasoning, and that's going to really be able to propel you forward. You're going to hit little obstacles, you're going to hit major obstacles. You're still going to, you're going to have that vision in the back of your mind. It's going to help you keep going. You combine that with really locking this stuff in, like with the, creating a habit out of stuff as well. Yeah. Nothing can stop you at that point. You're pretty much unstoppable. So hopefully you guys watched to the end. I felt like that was pretty inspirational video. I think that it could help a lot of people. This is definitely the approach that I've used. You know, I really connected with my whys on this YouTube channel. It sounds like I'm really helping you guys from what I've seen in the comments. If I am, definitely subscribe if you're not already. It definitely helps out, gets that message out to more people. Same thing with hitting the like button as well.